Okay, so in this tutorial we're going to look at creating an enemy that moves either up and down or left and right. So the first thing we want to do in order to do that is add an enemy sprite. Okay, I've got a pre-made image here. You can use any image you like, of course. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is make sure that my enemy has its own category, its own group. So I've gone to properties and then I'm going to click on edit groups. And I'm going to create a new group called enemies. Okay, and what do we want enemies to collide with? We want them to collide with players, with walls, or that's in our tiles section, actors. We don't want them to collide with other enemies, so I'm going to leave that one blank. Click OK, and make sure we change this to the enemies group. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is now program my enemy so that it moves up and down. And we also need to detect when the enemy hits a wall so that it can then reverse direction. So I'm going to go into events for my enemy here, and now I'm going to create what we commonly call in programming terms a variable. And in Stencyl, they call variables attributes. Okay, but I'm going to keep using the term variable because in most programming languages we use the term variables. Okay, so when I say variables in Stencyl, we're looking at attributes. Okay, so now click there. Now I need to create a new variable or attribute. And this variable is going to detect the direction of our enemy. So I'm just going to call it direction. And the type of variable I want to be a text variable. It's going to store either an up, down, left, or right. Okay, now when my enemy is first created, I want to set the direction to be up by default. I click Add Event and Creating, and I'm going to set the direction to up. So the initial direction of the enemy will be up. Now I need to program my enemy so that it actually moves up and down. Click Add Event and Updating. I need to use an if statement first of all. So if, we need a comparison to go in there as well. Okay, so if the direction is up, then I'm going to make sure my character is indeed moving up. So I'm going to set the Y speed to -30. Try that speed to begin with and see how that works. Now I need to do a similar thing but for the down direction. So I'm going to duplicate that one, and if the direction is down, Y speed to +30. Okay, now the key problem we're left to deal with now is we need the enemy to detect when it hits a wall and then change the direction. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to add a collision detection. We're going to detect a member of the group. So when the enemy collides with any member of the tiles group, remember our walls are in the tiles group, so when the enemy hits a wall in the tiles group, that's what we're detecting. So now I'm going to go use an if statement, and in our collision section here, if our enemy hits one of the top walls, so if the top of our enemy is hit, well, we're going to set the direction to down. So if it hits the top wall, then we want to be moving downwards. So if our enemy hits the top, we need to set the direction to down. Okay, duplicate that. Let's remove this one. If the bottom of our enemy is hit, then we want to set the direction up. Okay, so that's basically when our character hits the wall at the bottom, then we're going to change its direction to head upwards. Okay, I think we are ready to test that. Let's give it a test and see. Oh, well, I need to put my enemy into the scene first, unless I haven't done that yet. So let's quickly go back to our first level there and put an enemy in. All right, yeah, let's test it. And there we go, looks like that's working well. And finally, if we also want an enemy to be moving left and right, I'm going to go through this next section a little bit faster. So I'm going to duplicate enemy 1 there. I'm going to call it enemy 2. And I'm going to edit enemy 2 and change all of the options to left and right instead of up and down. So initial direction left. The ups I'm going to change to left, all the downs I'm going to change to right. Change the speed from Y speed to X speed. Change that to left. Right. Okay, and I need to, we're not detecting the top of the character anymore, we're detecting the left and right, so I need to remove this one. So that collision is for the left side of the character. And we're going to remove this one too, we don't want the bottom to be detected. We want the right side to be detected. So we'll move that in there, the right side. And let's put enemy 2 in and see how that goes. Mistake somewhere there. Let's have a quick look. I've got these two the wrong way around. When the left side of the actor hits the wall, we need to change the direction to right. This one left. Just got those two mixed up. That should work now. Let's have a look. And there we go, working perfectly now. And you'll also notice that our two enemies do not collide with each other because we've got them both in the enemy section. All right, that's the end of this tutorial.